Okay, so today folks we're going to be talking about effective and efficient movement in the hills. And we're going to start with a kind of a winter skill called kicking steps. And out of all the winter skills, this is the one that you probably want to get or be the most effective at, because it's the one that you're going to use the most when you're moving around in the mountains, keeping yourself sort of safe. To kick steps effectively, you obviously need to have some good technique, and we'll have a look at that. But the kit that you use and wear is also very important. So to have good stiff boots, either B2 or B3 boots, with a very good, aggressive, almost saw-like teeth sole to them, and a good stiffness to the boots as well. And this will allow you in stiffer, firmer snow for your boots to bite in and create that edge that you want to have when you're kicking your steps. With kicking steps, with sort of movement in the sort of mountains, you need to be able to move up the slope efficiently, down the slope efficiently, through sort of steep ground and through sort of shallow ground as well. And these are all some of the skills that we'll look at just now. Okay folks, so it's always worth just understanding what the sort of footprint you want to sort of leave on the snow is. And as you can see, you don't want to have a flat foot when you're kicking steps, because this will often result in a sort of a slip and a slide. So when you're kicking steps, you really want to sort of angle your boot, angle your leg into the sort of slope, and it's a kicking, almost sort of slicing action to leave a nice score in the snow. And same if you're looking at sort of doing it with your sort of front point as well, the front of your foot. You're never going to leave a complete footprint into the snow. You're always going to leave more of a sort of edge imprint in the snow as well. So you can often look at your prints to see how effective you've been with your sort of kicking steps. So what would be worth looking at just now is just how you would kick those effective steps and the sort of leg movement that you want to get those to work. So a common mistake that folks make when they're kicking steps is that their foot is angled either slightly up the hill or slightly down the hill, and this creates ineffective step kicking. So what you're really looking for with your kicking of your steps is to have the footprint perfectly across the fall line of the hill. And the fall line of the hill is the line that a ball would roll down the hill if you were to let it go, and your footprint wants to be perfectly across it like that. And that'll give you the most stable, effective footstep. So folks, to kick effective steps in stiff snow, a lot of the technique to it is what you do with your legs as much as what you do with your feet. And to get good edges kicking into the slopes with your boot means that you need to roll your knees in towards the slope and almost roll your ankles in towards the slope as well. And if you're a bit of a skier, that would be the same technique as you use to find an edge on sort of firm snow. If you stand up straight and flatten your feet off, again, this will often result in a slide. So roll your knees towards the slope, roll your ankles towards the slope, and this will get the inside and outside edge of your boot cutting nicely into the firm snow. So folks, as well as having a good leg position with your knees and your ankles rolled into the slope, you also need to have a good swing from your leg as well. And what you'll often see people doing is having a stamping action when they're kicking steps. And this is only effective in soft snow when you don't actually need to kick steps so well. So when it comes to firm snow and you're kicking your steps moving forward, you're looking for a bit of a swing from the hip, but more from the knee, and allowing the lower leg and the weight of the boot just to carry forward and to kick into the slope. And if you're kicking well, you'll often see a bit of a spray of snow coming out the front of the boot. So folks, once you master the art of this kicking steps technique, then you can use it in a variety of terrain and a variety of sort of angles of slope. So we can use it in gentle ascent, we can use it in travelling forward across the slope, and we can also use it in gentle descent as well, all with the same technique, all with the same kicking action. And if you ever need to ascend anything quite steep, again you can use it in ascent but going straight up the slope, and this just requires a bit of stepping through with the bottom leg and kicking up with the upper leg. You can use the same technique in descent, again if it's a steep slope, and just kicking with the bottom and stepping in with the top foot. This time you don't want to step through because that'll cause quite a lot of imbalance and a bit of instability. So we just keep it stepping side, 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 side on a steep descent. There'll be times, folks, when the kicking steps that we looked at aren't effective enough for ascending a slope quickly and efficiently. Sometimes you need a technique, a kicking technique that will just take you up the hill quite quickly. This will be a technique called front pointing, or kicking in with your toes. And this allows the front of your boot just to bite into the slope, and you can take a straight ascent right up the fall line of the hill. Before, when you're rolling your knees into the slope, that is the important part of the kicking the step. This time, with being on your toes, the important part of kicking the step is still the swing from the knee to kick in, but a very important part is to keep the heel raised and keep the toe of the boot angled down, because if we kick in and drop the heel as we step away, again our foot will just slide from the fall line of the hill. So folks, if you think about how many steps you take during the course of a day on a big day out in the mountains, you can see why you want to be effective and efficient with your kicking of steps. It's worth just bearing in mind though, if the slope becomes firm enough that the kicking of steps isn't working for you, then you need to seriously think about putting crampons on. But with the right sort of snow and the right sort of conditions, you can travel very effectively through the mountains with a good efficient kicking step.